Look who it is, the instigator of this little affair. Her mathematicalness should be along soon, unless the leader of the Order's too busy crunching numbers to attend to business. There we are. Apologies for the delay. We were resolving some technical issues. Cloister's atmosphere has a tendency to... Oh, yes! Regale us with a thorough account of Cloister's atmosphere. Oh, spare no detail. This must be Auntie Cleo's trademark wit. I expected better. Why, I don't know what you're referring to, I'm sure. Compared to how I treat my staff, I'm being a peach. If I was discourteous, I apologize. So long as our mediator proves up to the task, surely we can remain civil. If not, these negotiations may prove short indeed. That's exactly the sort of rugged, steadfast feistiness we need here today. Now, let's arbitrate. From where I'm positioned, I sense 3 sore points still in need of massage. Point 1, control of the archive. Point 2, oversight of production and distribution of skip cores. And point 3, management of Rift technology. If there is one subject at the forefront of my mind, it is the archive. Before we go any further, I want it in writing that the Order will take full control of the archive without interference from Auntie's choice. What? So the Order can set it fruitlessly idling for another few centuries? We would put it to far more practical use. Imagine the marketing strategies it could develop. I would sever my own hand before giving custody of the archive over to a corporation. Humanity's ascension depends on its calculations. No, such a condition is out of the question. Amenable to that proposition. Less work on our part. I'm waiting to hear an argument that would support such a ludicrous proposal. That is a compelling vision of the future. One I could perhaps support. Involving money in science seems questionable, but having access to Auntie's resources would be useful for our research. Fine. Yes, I agree. Reluctantly. Ruth, I commend you for being so receptive, and I assure you that Auntie's choice values science. Nothing bad has ever happened when science and commerce are combined. On the subject of science, it would be most prudent for us to discuss who will be overseeing the management of skip drives, specifically the production of skip cores. No one understands production like we do. Besides which, we have far more experience using skip drives. It was how we came to Arcadia, after all. Where Auntie's choice manages, the Order would undoubtedly excel. Do not exclude us from consideration merely for lack of experience. So you ramp up production? And then what? Hand skip drives out for free to whoever wants one? Preposterous, and a waste of a perfectly good monopoly. We would be diligent about who we licensed out the skip drives to. and a monopoly over space travel is precisely what I wish to avoid. This technology should benefit all humanity. That assumes Auntie's choice would even abide by such a list of restrictions, and which would almost be impossible for the Order to enforce.
Not to worry. We can build a regulatory commission to oversee production and make sure everything is up to Auntie's choice and Order standards.
I will want to run some calculations to be sure, but I'm willing to concede on this point for now. There is still the question of who takes possession of the Protectorate's rift technology once the war is finished. Although the science is still largely theoretical, this technology could be used to not only close rifts, but create new ones. A dangerous power indeed, left in the wrong hands.
The Order would fritter away valuable time endlessly hand-wringing what to do with the technology. Auntie's choice would actually use it. For good, of course. In a gainful manner. A 50-50 split? But that's so equal. Normally, I'd decline such a preposterous suggestion, but if we win, it'd make excellent marketing copy for our Department of Mock Civility and Tactical Confabulation. Fine, why not?
I have full faith in the plan. Let probability prove out my calculations. As expected, the plan clearly favors the Order.
Oh, piffle. Sometimes you earn, sometimes you pay.
There is one final matter I wish to discuss. I require some chemicals that I have been told are manufactured at a plant on Praetor, controlled by Auntie's choice.
I know which plant you're referring to, Ruth, and what comes out of it is hardly safe for general use. Out of professional curiosity, what could you possibly need with such dangerous compounds? Running a little experiment, are we? On what? Or whom?
That is, quite frankly, none of your concern.
Precisely. Partners don't withhold secrets, although they can and probably should withhold extremely dangerous chemicals if not properly notified of what they will be used for.
I will make no progress with my request without further explanation, will I? While the archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly, brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this headgear exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I require these chemicals to finish it. No, it is most certainly not. But if humanity only pursued the safe course, we would still be subsisting in caves rather than thriving amongst the stars. Being first inherently comes with risk, but better that I should undertake this endeavor than ask another to do so on my behalf. I am singularly positioned for the task.
And I thought we were the ones who threw caution to the wind. Ah, well, Ruth, if worst comes to worst, I'd be happy to serve as a substitute teacher for the Order.
A generous offer, but I fear you lack a certain number of qualifications. Conscience, for example. You sound just like Laureate Beckett. I weary of having this debate, especially as I can never seem to win it. Very well, never mind about the chemicals. Now is not the time for risky experimentation at any rate.
Oh, bother. Here I wanted to see Ruth lobotomize herself. Oh, well. Best I'll say is today's outcome is workable. Barely. Our gains were not as exclusive as I had hoped they'd be.
Arriving at any arrangement even remotely equitable was statistically improbable. Be glad our mediator managed to find a middle path forward. As am I. You certainly have a way of curving probability into your favor.
Well, that'll be all for today. Don't forget to purchase the latest in Auntie's Choice products out on the value-added Esplanade, or enjoy a refreshing cocktail at the Best Choice. And do come see me personally when you have time. I have just the thing in mind for an accomplished freelancer such as yourself.
One moment. There are still the logistics of recapturing the archive to consider.
We'll, of course, provide our expert troops to support these efforts. Have your people call my people to sort details. Toodaloo!
Brusque as ever. Auntie's troopers will certainly help us manage the Protectorate forces easier, especially if supported by your help. But it would be irrational to expect you to endanger your own life without a more specific strategy in place. Fortunately, I have already given this some thought. First, Order forces must move into our former headquarters at Spyreton. A simpler task now that you have liberated it. By all accounts, you thoroughly routed the enemy. Well done. More importantly, there is a lift located in Spyreton which can deliver our troops into the archive to assist you against the Protectorate. Unlocking and calling that lift can only be done from within the archive, however. So you will need to infiltrate the archive by alternate means, via a bridge connected to Newton. Fortunately, I am told you already dealt with the cultists there. Unfortunately, you will still need to find a way past a small rift currently blocking the bridge. Ordinarily, I do not fancy surprises, but you are proving an exception to that rule. With such a device in hand, bypassing the rift should be as rudimentary as pie. And perhaps at some later date, you will also permit our scientists to analyze this gadget at length in one of our labs, provided all goes according to plan. There is a computronical key that you will also need to locate within the archive called the Calcaduceus. The Calcaduceus grants special access to the archive. Once it is back in Order hands, we will have full control over its systems once more. Rift data. And how did you come by this acquisition, if I may ask? It troubles you, what you had to do to get this data. It must have been a difficult choice. But difficulty is not a metric useful in judging a decision as right or wrong. Something hard is only hard. Time determines the rest. Until the Order has control over the archive again, this discussion is all but moot. You know what must be done. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
The corporate stooges and the Order were good for only one thing: laying waste to one another. Now they are allies?